my things multiple ways. Hello, hello. We are doing gene key readings today. And so here over on YouTube, I won't be looking at the screen constantly because I'm going to have my gene key website pulled up as I'm doing TikTok at the same time. Because like big believer, whenever you show up in your business, make sure that it goes everywhere. Make sure that you can use it in a million different ways because it's going to save you time. It's going to make you like realize. Here's the big thing about business. Like you're going to have to repeat yourself. Like your messaging, everything that you do, it's so important to repeat yourself. And whenever you do this, you start to feel like a real core of like, hey, this is my value system. These are my beliefs in business. Like this is who I am. And so I'm just a big believer. I'm like, if I'm going to go live, I'm going to go live 2 or 3 places. We're going to stretch this out and make everything work for you. Like make everything work for you. It's amazing. So if you're over here on YouTube, just know I'm going to be bouncing back and forth between the Gene Key website and your stuff. This is more of like, if you're over on like my Facebook group, the Tap That Magic Facebook group, or over on my YouTube, I haven't done as much on YouTube lately, but I'm feeling very strongly about putting stuff there again, about like uploading all of my interviews with other entrepreneurs for my podcast, things like that. And so we kind of go through seasons in business, and I'm like stepping back into the YouTube season again. And I love my Facebook group and the YouTube because I feel like they get the behind the scenes of like, this is what I'm doing whenever I'm like doing these little mini readings. Okay. Oh, hey, Amanda. Hey, Alyssa. Hi, Creation Alchemy and Chris. Oh my gosh, I'm so glad you're here. Okay, I saw Jason first and I called Jason, so I'm going to get you started. And by the way, I need to like raise this up a little bit. But by the way, if you are on my lives, I want you to understand that like I'm a big believer that we always get exactly what we need. So whether I read your chart or I'm reading somebody else's chart, like I fully believe that there are so many messages in here for you to take and run with in your business. Because I'm kind of a stinker in the Gene Key, the human design, the astrology community, that I don't feel like our talents just end at our own chart. I feel like that's just the beginning, and it's just used as like a really solid stepping stone for us to get really confident and really bold and to start branding ourselves and attracting clients from our gifts. But then we grow from there. So like if you hear, and if you're listening and chilling out, just like doing, like hearing somebody else's chart, there's so much stuff in there for you because you know the truth whenever you hear it. And you'll feel it inside your system. Like, you know the truth whenever you'll hear it. And even if it's somebody else's chart, there's so much wisdom that you can take from it. So much wisdom. Oh, I am like so excited right now because I'm doing Jason's right now. So I probably shouldn't be talking at the same time that I'm putting in numbers, but I'm a nerd and I can't stop talking. Okay, let me put this first. 7-Eleven. I just like, once I start talking, I get kind of chatty Cathy. Okay. To June, 82, Wheat Ridge, Colorado. Okay. I'm pulling up yours right now, Jason. I've been getting just like so excited because hello, Zara. Hi, Steph. Nerds are the coolest. Ugh. Okay. And everybody, by the way, make sure you copy your date, time, location of birth. So then as soon as I'm complete with Jason's chart, you can just like put yours below and just drop them all at the same time. And then I'll grab whoever I'm like super gravitated towards, because usually the person that not usually, all the time, the person that I'm gravitated towards, their chart will have a message for everybody, like everybody that's hanging out, everybody that's listening. This is how like you trust your intuition whenever it comes to business. But I've been having so much fun in my business lately because I'm really in this stage where I'm up-leveling my content even more and getting really, really specific. And so whenever I have one of those moments, probably like 4 times a year, it seems, where I sit down and I get really like hook heavy. And like, if you haven't ever studied hooks before, it's kind of like what you would think about as like clickbait titles or things like that. And I don't think that there's anything wrong with that in your business, because I think that whenever we use things like that, it allows us to speak directly to the people who our magic is going to impact. Because like, here's the thing, at the end of the day, you can have the coolest product, the coolest service. It could change people's lives. But if you don't know how to articulate that and get that out there to the right people, then like, that's half the battle, right? So I sat down the other day and I shit you not, my crazy ass wrote 16 pages of hooks. And so like now every morning or every afternoon, whenever I go and create my content, I'm going back to those 16 pages of hooks and I'm like, this needs to be included in one of my offers because it's so mind-blowing banana pants good. But all right. Ooh, Jason. Okay. Hi, Pamela. Yes. And thank you everybody for being so patient because there's like always a million different lessons in here as I just talk and as I do this. Let me go back over there, make sure. Okay. Make sure everything was recording on the YouTube correctly. So Jason, your profile lines, and I feel like I always end up starting with 1-3s. For some reason, there's so many damn 1-3s that come into my world as well. And I feel like one of the emphases that I put on my teaching is through profile lines. So you'll see a lot of human design readers. You'll see a lot of us like, well, mostly human design readers talking about type and authority. They love type and authority. And like type and authority, I always say is like some of the most beautiful things because like understanding my husband's a manifester and that he is an emotional type has like helped me to understand him in such a deep way that I didn't before I knew those things. And so it's like made me an even groovier wife by understanding how his energy works. But where the human design world, I feel like doesn't go into much emphasis, or there's only like the same definitions every place that you turn to like learn more about this as profile lines. And like I am a profile line hoe for show. That is like my badge of honor. And maybe that's why I was drawn to the gene keys over human design first, where like the gene keys clicked for me before human design did, which it's usually like that's bass backwards to most people. But then I've had people come into my Decode Your Keys gene key course and they're like, that like I'm drawn to the gene keys before human design. And so it just, your brain works differently. It's okay. But I love the gene keys because it's such an emphasis on your human design profile lines. And man, once I understood my profile lines, I started like showing up in my business like a freaking force, like a force of nature. Like I always tried to be somebody different. So understand, Jason, that your profile lines are like super important whenever it comes to understanding who you are and like how you get to brand yourself. And as a 1-3, there's actually a lot of like marketing advice that applies to you really well that doesn't always apply to everybody else. And that's the fact that like whenever you have a 1 in your profile line, you are the authority. Like you are the marketing authority. Like you make other people feel so secure in what it is that you teach because you're going to teach them the boom, 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 step-by-step process. You're going to teach them A, B, C, D, E, G, like all of it, where some other lines don't go that far into detail. Like we need line 1s because you mofos are actually going to the center of the Tootsie Pop. Like you are like a little archaeologist or like Google and you dig up the information that the rest of us are a little too squirrely or a little too lazy to look up. And like, we're thankful for you. So see yourself as this person with that 1-3 profile as like, I go and I gobble up this information. I go through these rabbit holes, but then I turn around and I experiment. Like so much of your life should also be experiment because like, yes, you feel safe just reading up on things. You feel safe and good, just like learning and learning and learning, but like eventually you have to put it into action. And the more that you can like speed this process up in your life, the freaking better. I'm telling you right now, you study, it's kind of like being a scientist. You study and then you experiment. You study, experiment, and you take your findings and you teach people your findings as well. So remember that whenever it comes to how you show up in your business, is that it's supposed to be that, you know, everybody calls it trial and error, but I like to think about it as like riding a roller coaster, or like going out on the field to play soccer or play football, and like you're going to scrape your knee, or you're going to like try to shoot for a goal and you might miss the goal, and then there's something that you learn from that you can take back to your audience. Okay, so it's the research and the experimentation that pairs so beautifully, and you can't have one without the other. And then for your gene key, your life's work gene key. I had somebody comment on one of my, I create memes for the gene keys. Okay. So like, I don't teach them in just like a cryptic, like foreign language where it feels really hard to learn. I literally teach them through Furby and Beyonce memes so that they make sense and they click easy in your brain. And so I posted the one for this 35 the other day. If you go to my Instagram, you can find all of these memes with these gene keys and save them for yourself for later. But the 35, I got an even clearer image of this whenever I was teaching the last round of my gene key course. And that's why it's funny, because these gene keys, it's like peeling back layers of an onion. Like you think that you'll understand it and it gets deeper and deeper and deeper. And so we were in class and one of the students was like, "Oh my gosh, it reminds me of Alice in Wonderland." I was like, "Yes, that's an even better way of putting it," because like truly this 35, you are honestly this advocate for miracles. And like, out of all of the gene keys, out of all 64 of them, the rest of them have partners. The rest of them have little buddies. That's where it gets like more scientific. And it's like the codons and the groupings and blah, blah, blah. But the 35 stands alone. The 35 is an island, and they also refer to it as a wormhole. So it's like anything can happen. Like at any day, a door can open and possibilities that you had no idea were just around the corner just like show up for you. And so there has to be, like, with what, it doesn't matter what you're selling. If you're like doing fitness or you're making fancy pancakes, there's this level of optimism that you do really good whenever you tap into in reminding people that like it's worth it. The showing up day in and day out, because one day you're going to quantum leap whenever you weren't expecting it from that work that you put in to get there. And you'll have that wormhole moment where you just like end up on the other side of the galaxy. And that is the coolest thing. So whenever that has happened for you in your life, use that to your advantage. Use that in your content creation. Whenever the doors have opened up and it's just those moments of feeling like, "Oh, this, like, Jason's lucky." It's like, no, Jason's not lucky. Like he just like lives his life in this sense. I'll answer that in 1 second. He lives his life in this sense where it's like knowing that at any time a door can open up where opportunity comes in. So gene keys are like a deep dive into your human design and astrology. And I teach them in a fast, fun, and easy way through like memes and just through like archetypes so that they make sense for you, so that you can take this information, you can go you can go back. And this helps you like brand yourself. This helps you attract the right kind of clients because you're showing up with your gifts. And this helps you make really juicy content because you're showing up with your superpowers. Whenever you start showing up with your superpowers, like everything changes. So Jason, thank you for letting me read for you. And everybody go ahead and drop your date, time, location of birth below. Oh, any advice for life's work 33? You're welcome, Jason. So the 33 actually does well with quite a bit of time where, like, for you, it's going to be very beneficial for your business the more space you have mentally. So this looks like maybe not taking as many clients every single day, like maxing out like maybe 2 clients that you're working with. This looks like, making sure that you're going on a walk in the morning just so that you can have your own peace of mind. Because here's the thing, like a 33 is a master contemplator and you're really, really good. Like a lot of really good ideas come through your brain. And so your brain needs space to grow. It doesn't need everybody else's opinions, everybody else's thing. I have the 33 in my pearl. So that's like my money-making gene key, right? And so I realized once I stopped picking up the phone and working with clients that I felt like I was pulling people out of ditches over and over again. And I started instead empowering people and showing people the way and speaking to people who like already had their shit together, speaking to people who are already like ready to be more confident and already ready to like get on camera and ready to do all of these things, like do what it takes to make their business successful. Like everything started changing. And I have so much more energy to like get on these lives, to send out the emails, to do all that. So it's all about like understanding you need your mental space so that the best ideas can come through for you. All right. Who's first? Oh, Amanda from Texas. I'm going to grab you because you have been such a good little friend coming on here and being patient the last couple of times I've jumped on. So like, thank you. I appreciate you. Amanda with the butterfly. You and Jason are 82. Let's see. Let me pop back over here. Nope, just recording. Okay. Temple, Texas. 717. Did anybody else finish the Crescent City 3 book? Okay, I'm like letting my nerd show, but I like all the Akatar and Throne of Glass books. If you're a fantasy lover or a smutty book lover, like you're in the right place. I want you to know that you're safe. This is like the weird place where we celebrate all those things, but I finished Crescent City on Friday. It was like an 850-page book and I knocked it out in like 4 days. And it was so good. It was so good. I love SJM. She's such a good writer. And if you've been like wanting to get back into reading, she has 16 books, Sarah J. Maas, but like they'll really make you fall in love with reading again. And I'm like, I fly through books now because of her books. 7. Me. Also been reading a lot of Ice Planet Barbarians. I don't know if you've ever heard of that. They are spicy AF, but also like cute and sweet. They'll make you have a crush on like blue horned aliens, and it's weird, but in a good way. It's like a soap opera. The Ice Planet Barbarians it's so good. If you ever need book recommendations, make sure you go follow me on Instagram because like a couple times a week I'll put what I'm reading in my stories, and like I know that my book nerds love that. Like I got all the recommendations for you. 17 July 82. Okay. Amanda. You're welcome, Corinne. Hello, everybody. I'm so glad you're here. Some days I'm like, let's get all jazzed up and like put all of our makeup on. And like, I even had a phase today where I was like, I need to get face jewels. I need to have like face jewels on whenever I make videos and go lives. Like that is my vibe right now, like colored eyeliner and face jewels. But then there's other days where I'm like bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, just like coming straight out for you. And so I feel like it's good to have both sides of that whenever you show up in your business. Because some days, like having all the makeup on whenever you go on lives and you make videos, like feels really good. It makes you just like your confidence is bursting, blah, blah, blah. But then there's other times where like just showing up like this and like me and just like chill, it feels really good too. So there's not a right or wrong way to do this, by the way. If you've been wanting to get, I'm so excited. Amanda, I'm so excited. Okay, you got some real good stuff that I love talking about. Maybe it's because I'm a little biased for my own chart because like I had to go and do such a deep dive whenever I learned these gene keys to like use myself as a guinea pig. You know what I mean? Because like nowhere else on the internet was somebody teaching this through the lens of business and through the lens of being an entrepreneur. And so I really had to lean into myself. I had to lean into other business owners that I was working with and dive deep into those charts to see and like deconstruct how we can use them in our business. And I had a lot of cool findings from it. So you have a few things in your chart that are very near and dear to my heart that are honest to God, like the foundations of what I teach. So like in your chart is like the living example of like the foundations of what I teach. And I'm so here for it. So again, whether you have what's in Amanda's chart or not, like you're going to get really juicy messages from this and you're going to know what feels true to you and what makes sense to you. Okay. Doesn't matter if you have these certain things, like there's pieces of wisdom for you to take and run with, because I don't believe that our gene key charts and our astrology charts and our human design charts are meant to keep us in a cage and keep us like a wild stallion all jazzed up in a pin. No, like you're supposed to learn those things about yourself and then you grow from there. And then you go from there. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's just another place for you to catapult off into your greatness, right? So you are a 5-1 Amanda. And I love talking to fives because it feels like honestly the heart and soul of my business is speaking to people that are ready to get up on their soapbox and use their voice. And I'm telling you what, a lot, like if you have a line 5 in your chart, even if you're like a 3-5 or if you're a 2-5, like you're physically healthier whenever you're using your voice. Like you're truly healthier the more that you use your voice. And I want you to understand, like, you have in your life's work, Amanda, the 62.5. So this is almost like a double voice whammy Like I'm not even joking you because they call the 62 like the scientist, but I was explaining the 62 one time to my mom who like she knows a little bit about astrology and human design just from like listening to me, but I was telling her one time about the 62 because it was the one that changed my life, changed the trajectory of my business because in the 62 it says once you start to use your voice, nothing in your life will ever look the same. And not just like, did you see the did you see the leaves rustle? I got my corgi back there. Hang on. Let me see. There he is. Hello, Bradley. Stop licking your foot. It's weird. It's weird to just lick your foot. Poor YouTube people like, hearing me like deep into this. But once you start to use your voice, literally nothing in your life and in your business will ever look the same because there's so much power that gets unlocked with this voice. And this is like, it's so true because it's not like, oh, hey, I'm going to go live once a month and that's enough. No, it's like you showing up consistently and posting on your social media and getting really good at using your words, whether it's through your voice or through your thumbs. It's you showing up on your stories and talking about your offers. It's you like getting on lives like this and like forming a community and like knowing you don't need the outside validation from anybody else because you're going to keep going. You're supposed to go past the moon and far into the galaxy. But knowing that like the more that you do this, the more that you use your voice, the more likely it is that you are going to succeed. Like the closer and closer you get to your bigger goals because your voice is a huge part of that. And your teaching is a huge part of that. You have the 1762 working on speaking more often to overcome performance anxiety. Neptune's Mystic Sage. Okay, coolest name, but like you're in the perfect place because Zara, you're a 512. Nice. You're in the perfect place, especially anybody that knows they want to get more confident online and like show up with their big, weird, fun, sparkly personality and sell offers that feel really good to their soul. Like you're in the right place because for like having the 62 like Amanda has. Oh, you're a 5-1 as well. This is why I love doing this because everybody gets what they need. Okay. But I was telling Amanda, like, you know, the more that you use this voice, the better you're going to get, the more crystal clear you're going to get, the happier you're going to feel. And I'm going to tell you what, even though I had this in my chart, and even though I'm a line 5 as well, it was daunting to get on social media. Like I am the grooviest little cat outside in the real world, right? I'm a weirdo, I'm confident, but to transfer that over to social media took me a little bit. It took me a little bit and I'm still getting better at it every single day. And that's why I continue to show up and I go on lives and I continue to show up and make podcast episodes and continue to like, you know, not only like launching offers, but creating posts every single day because I know how important it is to show more and more and more of myself because the more that I do that and the more that I teach, the more impact is made in the world because like somebody out there, Amanda, needs what you love. They need it from your point of view. They need it with your funny words. They need it with your outlook on the situation because it's never clicked for them. It's never really clicked for them until you say it your way. So it doesn't matter. Like I said, if you make fancy pancakes or if you're a fitness instructor, or if you do health and wellness, or if you help people around their periods, like it doesn't matter what you do because the way that you talk about it is what's going to have the impact. It's what's going to open the door for somebody else to understand it in a way that they never have before. So like trust yourself to speak it in your own verbiage. That's why I love talking about these profile lines because like I said, I had to like mute a lot of creators in the human design community, even though I love them, but like especially over on Instagram because I felt like the same stuff was getting repeated all the time. And sometimes we just need different verbiage. We need different words. But I was going to tell you, Amanda, I was explaining this 62 to my mom, and she's like, "Oh, so you like baby bird information?" I was like, "Excuse me, what?" And she's like, yeah, you know, like a mama bird, she like takes something that's really takes something that's a lot and breaks it down easily for the babies. Like you're able to take things that feel complex to others and break it down in an easy peasy way for them to understand. So like that's one of your strengths is to break things down in a way that's easily digestible for other people. So understand that's one of your skills, and should be emphasized on in your content, should be emphasized on in your courses that you put out there. And even the way that you like sell on social media, like breaking it down even more in your stories of like what the transformation is going to look like for your clients. And so going back to the 5-1s, and so we have so many little magical 5-1s here. I'm a 5-2 personally. I'm married to a 5-1. But if we look at 5-1s throughout time, the examples that I usually give are Martin Luther King Jr., the Queen of England. She liked corgis too. You know what I mean? Taylor Swift, Lady Gaga. Somebody told me Billie Eilish. There's so many more, because it's really interesting. Like every other profile has like more people, where there's like more 5-1s, there's less 5-2s, where there's more 3-5s, there's less 2-5s. So it's like every other one. It's very, very interesting like that. So you'll probably always meet like more 3-5s or like 1-3s than you will 1-4s and stuff like that. But so there's a lot of 5-1s in the entertainment industry is what I'm getting at. But for all of those people, think about it in the fact that like their messages were very yay or nay. Like people come across them or would come across them, and it was a very yay or nay type energy. And you have this built-in attraction and repellent as a line 5. You have this built-in whenever you start using your voice and speaking from your own point of view and sharing what's important to you, people are either going to be like, where have you been my whole life? I've been waiting for somebody to say that, or holy shit, I've never thought about it that way, Amanda. Like I've never thought about it that way, Zara. Like I've never thought about it. Or they're going to look at your stuff and be like, no, thanks. Like, this is not for me. Like, no. Like, keep scrolling. And actually, that makes it even easier for us as business owners, because like you get out there and you jump on a TikTok live, or you jump on an Instagram live, or you post a TikTok video, and people will easily be like, yay or nay. And so it's really easy for you to find your community, but you have to be willing to get up on your soapbox and speak. Again, highlighting the voice. The voice is huge for you whenever you have this line 5 in your profile. It's going to make you happier. The more that you share and put yourself out there, I promise you, the happier you will feel, the more fulfilled you will feel, because line 5s are leaders. Line 5s are leaders, and they're like a little human Sour Patch Kid. It's either like people either think their message is really sweet and delicious, or people are like, your message is sour. No, thank you. It's like a lightning bolt strike, right? It's this hit home. Oh my God, I'm so glad. It's one of those things. It's like a lightning bolt strike. You know, you can see it as like like disruption as like beautiful, or you can see it as like such a terrible thing. Like I remember my husband worked for a company, or he still does, but they had an old plant where like they make deli meat and stuff, and it burned down. And I remember thinking in that moment, like obviously I was from an outsider's point of view. This was like 3 or 4 years ago. And from an outsider's point of view, it was easier to see that disruption was going to be beneficial in the long run. But in that moment, it was like, oh, fuck. Like everything, this isn't working. Like this totally sucks. Like this is totally bad. But like I see like 4 years later after that happened, how that disruption sped up things that have made them even more successful, like different buildings that they've created, like different clients that have come through. But at the time, it was like, whoa, this disruption feels like big and it feels like heavy. But on the other side of that, like the company they became is like the most beautiful gift to all of them, everybody that works there. And so like your message is going to be the same way. Maybe even people come across your stuff, and at first they're like, whoa, what is this? This is like, I'm following, this is making me like interested, or this is making me feel a certain way inside. But then the more that they stick with you, they're like, oh, this is the message for me. So people will automatically be either repelled or attracted to your stuff. So you don't honestly have to worry about that. One thing that I want to tell you as a line 5, because I get this question a lot, is people are like, do you worry about projections? And like, I just want to hug you whenever, like, and hug them whenever they say that, because I know what it's like to just look at every single human design post and have people just talk about the projection aspect. And honest to God, here's my 2 cents on it being a 5. I understand it in the sense of like, if I'm going to say that I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it and I'm going to do it to the best of my ability. I'm not going to overpromise and underdeliver. In fact, it's going to be the opposite. I'm going to underpromise and overdeliver, right? And so the rest of it, as long as you're showing up and doing the things that you need to do, toss the rest of this projection idea in the trash, because it's not up to you to interpret how you're going to be taken by every single person. That's not your job. That would be fucking exhausting. You know what I mean? To like constantly be like, what does this person think of me? What's that person? Because they're literally like, if you're a line 5, like people, and I feel like this goes for all the other lines, like people are going to look at your stuff and they're going to understand it based on their current understanding of what you're talking about. And so if you can take the projection piece and toss that part in the trash and stop worrying so much about what other people are going to think about you, like literally busting free of this people pleaser vibe, you're going to come out the other side and be the most expressed, happiest, weirdest, coolest, bubbliest version of yourself. And as long as you show up and you do the things that you say you're going to do, and you just show up and you're like, hey, this is how I can help you, and you get more specific about the way that you can help people, the better. Okay. So again, with that 62.5, Amanda, there's so much emphasis on your voice and the power of it. Oh my God. Thank you, Steph. Oh, you're so welcome. Oh, I'm so excited. I'm such like a little nerd. I love to take pictures whenever I'm doing this thing and it like resonates with people, because I'm like, I love sharing it, because I want people to understand how it feels whenever you learn about your gene keys and whenever you learn these things about yourself, because it really is like, for me, it was like a million lightning bolts hitting my system all at once. And it was just this like awakening of this greater piece of me of like, I knew I had these superpowers, but I really didn't know. I didn't know how to put it in words. I didn't know how to like understand what it was that I brought to the table. And these gene keys like put it in these archetypes and these understandings of like, these are your strengths and this is what you're really good at. And so that helped me to carry it over into my business in the way that I show up in my branding, and like how I position myself in the offers that I create, how I teach those offers, right? In the way that I attract clients. I attract clients truly through using these gene keys. Like the more that I lean into these gene keys, the cooler people come into my circles. And it is just the funnest thing once you learn these. So everybody go ahead, drop your date, time, location of birth below. I have time, a little bit more time for one or two. We're going to go. But yeah, if you want to learn how to read these gene keys, we have my 3rd round of Decode Your Keys starting on Wednesday. And this is if you want to learn how to read these gene keys for yourself, for your business. Like I was saying, all the branding, marketing yourself, creating your offers, showing up online, but also it helps you so deeply in your client work, because like so few people even know how to read these gene keys. And whenever you bring that into your client work, you're helping them get results so much faster because you're pointing out their strengths, but also you have a skill set that very few people out there have. And so you get to bring that to the table in your work. And it's a really cool thing. But I teach them in a really fun way. Whenever you go sign up for this class now, you get instant access to hours and hours. It's like 10 pre-recorded lessons, a bunch of worksheets, but it's like hours of information for you to just sit there and gobble up at your own pace and learn these gene keys. You can literally be doing gene key readings by the end of this week. So make sure you go sign up. But since this is the last live round, I'm going to be doing 4 Q&A sessions for the next 4 Wednesdays so that you can go and gobble up this information and then come back to me and I can answer these questions about your chart, how you read better for your clients. It's the grooviest thing. So go sign up for Decode Your Keys, and also make sure you download that freebie in the link in my bio about the gene keys, because that's just going to be like a little appetizer, a little taste. Corinne. Let's see. Okay. Montclair, New Jersey. 1980. Ooh, we could have been in high school together. I'm 1990. I always get excited whenever there's like people around my own age. I'm like, could have been friends. Although I always had friends with like the older kids. What time? 5. Thank you. Isn't he cute? He looks like a little cutie heart. 5:26 a.m. Have you ever watched lives and you're like, and like maybe that person doesn't see the sticker on the live and you're like, wait, no, there's a really cool sticker there. Like I don't watch lives that often, but I always try to like pay attention to the screen just in case stickers come up. Okay, Montclair, New Jersey, 5:26 a.m. 1 August 1989. Beautiful. Okay, Corinne. Beep, 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 beep. Ooh. All right. And everybody else just go ahead and copy your date, time, location of birth. And whenever I'm done with Corinne, I'll have you put it below. We'll see how I'm feeling after this one. Sometimes I just go into such deep explanations of these because, like I said, I know everybody has like a message that they can pull from this that I usually do like 2 or 3 instead of like flying through. I used to do that and like beautiful, cool, but like I feel like the deeper that I go into these, it gives you such a clearer picture, right? Oh, and I'm going to talk about something outside of your life's work, just so you know, Corinne, since we already kind of touched on the 33. But first and foremost, let me take a drink. I'm still like learning how to drink out of cups the correct way. Does that sound weird? I feel like I drank out of like water bottles for so long that like my husband still laughs at me because I'll just like be drinking and there'll just be water all over my shirt. I'm like, it's just really cool. Bri, I love when you get deep. Thank you. I appreciate it because I feel like there's just so much good stuff that comes instead of like trying to like speed our way through. Like the more we just kind of like marinate in it and hang out in it for a second, like the more messages come, you know? All right. So you are a 2-4, Corinne. And I always love talking to 2-4s because like you guys are so aesthetically pleasing. And I was having a conversation with a 2 the other day, and she's like, ooh, thank you, Nat. Ooh. I was having a conversation with a 2 the other day on here. And honestly, she was telling me, she's like, damn, this whole perfectionist energy though of like being aesthetically pleasing is getting in the way of me posting. I was like, oh girl, I think like we all have felt that way, right? Where it's like, oh, everything doesn't look like this coach who's been doing it for 5 years. And like, how do I make it? Like, I'm telling you what, I'm like 3+ years into Canva. I did a post earlier and I realized I was like, I'm actually even further into Canva than I thought, like years wise. It's probably over 3 years that I've been doing Canva now, and I'm still learning shit every day. I'm telling you what, like I'm still learning stuff every day. I learned about spacing today, and I've been creating content nonstop, and I learned about spacing today. So like you don't have to be perfect to start and to create content. I just want you to know like you're going to get better and better and better with time. And if being aesthetically pleasing is in any way, shape, or form feeling like it's hindering you, I want to dare you to be a little bit more reckless for a while. And then you can come back and make sure everything is pristine and clean and exactly how you want to look. But sometimes we just need like 30 days. Sometimes we just need 30 days to be wild as fuck and like not have rules on what all of our posts look like and just post whatever we want to post. And that sometimes is like the biggest reset gift that you can give yourself. I've gone through phases of this many times. I don't have to go as deep into it now, but like having kind of like that fuck it phase of just like, I'm going to post whatever feels really strong for me today. And it doesn't have to look perfect. It's more about just getting it out there again and again. It's going to be the most beautiful gift that you can give to yourself because like 2-4s, like anytime I go, Corinne, to 2-4s page though, it really is like a feast. It is like a visual or an audio feast. Like it is something that is so like all of them, even though they all look so different, all of their branding looks so different. Like you have the ability to be really clean cut and like have beautiful content that people are like, oh, this is like a form of art. And so even if it doesn't feel 120% at that point now, like allow yourself to be a little bit wild so that you can come back to this place where you refine it. I often say with business, shit is kind of like a big ice sculpture, right? And so whenever you're going to like carve a beautiful swan, you have to take the hammer and swing away at the big chunks first, right? Like those big chunks got to get out of here so that we can get in with the little baby tools and define even deeper. So I'm a big believer and it's like take the messier actions sometimes. And this doesn't even like, even if you have been in business for a long time, if you're rebranding, if you're feeling like you're having a pivot, allow yourself to take those big swings. Allow yourself to be a little reckless and a little messy for a while, because on the other side of that, you're going to gather a lot of information that's going to help you become really crisp and really clean. And so I just always love to say that. Another thing about twos is the fact that like, I even saw another post on it today and I'm like, oh, I like preach the opposite of that because I have a 2 in my profile line. I'm a 5-2. And so I'm very intimate with the 2. I just feel like a lot of times twos are being held like they're getting information that's holding them short of what their actual potential is because there's so much emphasis on the hermit. I love hermit. Like, don't get me wrong. Your girl is like snuggled up with her Kindle with her elderly cat on her lap every day. Like there's literally so much hermit that takes place in my life. But actually on the other side of it, there's also a me putting myself out there and me showing other people my magic. And so Corinne, this is like an emphasis for you is instead of thinking about yourself as this little hermit and a hermit crab, I want you to see yourself as like this genie in a bottle, which by the way, I haven't even said it yet. I have a really cool free masterclass I'm doing in the morning. Make sure that you go over to my Instagram and go into my stories and you can get the link to be invited to that masterclass. Or if you sign up for the freebie on the link in my bio, you'll also get the email in the morning for the link for my free masterclass. It's happening at 11 a.m. Eastern time. I don't know if I'll do it. I may broadcast it on TikTok Live, but there will be slides on my computer on the Zoom that you'll be able to see. And it's all about the profile lines. So as I was saying this to you, Corinne, I was like, I have to talk about the free masterclass tomorrow. But yeah, make sure you go to my Instagram and go to my stories and you can sign up over there. But that genie in the bottle energy is such a like more beautiful way of putting it, because it's like you go into your bottle and you do your thing and you get really good at the things that you're natural at, but then eventually you have to come out on the stage and you have to do your magic. And your magic, your way of doing things as a 2 doesn't look the way that other people's does. Like I often say where a line 1 follows the instructions one by one, a line 2 is more likely to like pick and choose the things that work for them and then bring it forward in a really intuitive way. And in that sense, the work that you do is kind of like a dancer. And so what I've been telling a lot of 2s lately, like I've had massage therapists and people that do like nails and stuff that have been coming to me with 2s as well. And it's like, just turn on your camera and go live, whether it is like you're talking like me, if that's what works best for your business, where you're talking and you're showing people. So I'll get on and I'll teach about these gene keys and do these readings and let people see me in my little element, right? Like this is me being the dancer on the stage, just like doing it my own way. But like for people that do like more of a product based or like a service based business like that, I'm like, just turn on the live while you're doing a back massage. Like obviously get permission of the person that you're like doing their nails or doing their facial, but like, have you ever seen those like more ASMR videos? Like that's how you grow your audience, whenever you let people just see you in your element. And so again, there's that with the lives, but there's also the strength of like the B-roll footage. And girl, like if I don't remind myself to make B-roll footage every day, I don't know. Like I have to like be very, very aware of like, I could always be making B-roll footage, right? And so then you could do voiceovers with that, or you can write like a pair. Oh boy, I knew you were about to bark. You take that attitude somewhere else, son. Look at me. Hey,
There's people that don't want to hear you barking because that's too loud. Listen to me.
The neighbor dog's barking. Oh, I know. But whenever you come up to work, you signed an agreement that you wouldn't bark. It's on your paperwork. I promise. He's just looking at me like I'm an asshole. Hang on. Buddy. I know. You want to bark. I know. He's such a little nerd. But it's just one of those things that the more you can put yourself out there, the better, because you're going to get better by putting your stuff on display. I promise you, it's going to build your confidence in a way that, like, if you would have just stayed hauled up in your hermit shell, that it wouldn't be the same. And so there's a lot of content out there that just says, like, do your thing and wait until the inspiration strikes you. But like, I challenge twos to push themselves a little further than they think that they're capable of, to make themselves uncomfortable. Because honestly, human design, gene keys, astrology aside, like, to grow in business, you have to do stuff that makes you uncomfortable, like, all the time. Like, I'm just not going to sugarcoat that kind of message anymore for business. It's not like you get in the right energy and everything is perfect. No, it's like you got to do shit that makes you uncomfortable. Just like I was talking about earlier with the 62 in my gene key chart, the line 5 in my gene key chart. Yeah, I have an affinity for using my voice. Like, I'm most likely going to be really good at using my voice, but I had to go through like the blood, sweat, and tears of like feeling uncomfortable and tripping over my words and learning how to like create masterclasses and sell better. Like, all of that came because I was willing to put myself in those uncomfortable places. Right. And so as a two, I always just challenge twos, like, get out there and make yourself even a little bit more uncomfortable. If like every day you can do something that puts you out of your comfort zone, you are in the best kind of place. I think it was, there's like a reel that David Bowie, where he was talking, and I love David Bowie. Maybe that's why I'm like obsessed with lightning bolts. I love him and Harry Potter. But like, it's one of those things that he was saying on this reel, that the worst place for creatives to be is like just trying to do stuff for other people or just trying to like play it safe. The best place you can be is like far out in the water. If you think about like going to the beach and getting into the ocean, the best place to be is whenever your feet are barely touching the ground. You're like out of your comfort zone. You're in a more unusual place. Like, you ever heard of those people that apply for jobs that like they end up getting it and it's like just out of their depth, but they have to like learn, they have to adapt, they have to grow. I think that that is the most beautiful thing that a two can do for themselves. And like I said, this doesn't just have to be for twos. Like, if you needed to hear this message today, like, boom, 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 this is for you. This is for you to go be bold and go do things that make you uncomfortable. Because on the other side of that is the greatest, coolest, most epic version of you that makes the most money and the most impact in this world. So just understand that. It is the coolest thing. But with your 4, I always tell people who have a line 4, you got to collaborate, Corinne. You've got to make sure that you're collaborating with other people. You're using your networks that you currently have to your advantage. So like, I was talking to somebody who was a 4/6 the other day. She was getting interviewed on my podcast. And she was telling me, she's like, working with a specific type of doctor, but she does hypnotherapy. And so they like bounce off of each other and like send each other's clients their way. And so if there's people in your world now that you can like bounce your specialties off of each other, beautiful, brilliant. Another thing to do, Corinne, if you don't already have a podcast or a page that you're going live on, make sure that you are reaching out to other people that are in similar niches to what it is that you're doing, and just like getting in front of audiences of people that have maybe similar ideal clients to you. Because whenever you have a line 4, you do so well speaking with other people and getting in front of other audiences, because it's like opportunity is around every corner for you whenever you have the line 4. Last but not the least, I want to talk about one of your gene keys that you actually have in 2 spots that I'm seeing. So in your prosperity sequence, we go over this in Decode Your Keys, the gene key course, how to read all of these different sequences, what everything means, what all the 64 gene keys mean. but your prosperity sequence is up at the top. It's that like blue triangle. And so 2 out of the 4 in your prosperity sequence, Corinne, are the 15. Again, another one that I love talking about because it's twice in my chart, feels near and dear to the messages that I preach just as values as a business owner and like the lessons that I teach people. But with this 15, visual imagery I always use. If you're a visual learner like me, like I like to picture things in my brain. Um, Picture a cartoon of the earth being flat. Like, I don't know if I watched this in like 3rd grade or something, but this imagery stays in my mind. And so it's one of those things. Oh, nice. It's one of those things that if you'd picture a boat going, like a little cartoon boat falling off the edge of this flat earth, right? But instead, you are like the boat with this 15th gene key. You are like the boat that goes all the way to the edge and then like spin, 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 turns around and comes back with the tails for the rest of us. And so all of the things that seem extreme to other people that you do on a daily basis, they're not bad. They're actually all the times where you've had quantum leaps and growths in your life that are like beautiful. And whenever you lead with that in your content and you talk about these things, people really feel inspired by you and they feel like, I want to get in your world and like be a part of your energy, because like maybe other people aren't willing to go as far to the end of the earth, to the end of the map and turn around like you, but by golly, are they not going to think about your freaking story, and it's going to change their life, and it's going to change the way they move, and it's going to change how brave they are. Like, your stories inspire people. So as an example, I have this 15 and twice in my chart. And I think about it as like double mint gum, like double the flavor, double the fun. Like, if you have a repeating number in your gene key chart, it just means this is here. Like, this is a lesson that you're very much learning, and also like something that you're good at being a teacher at. Right. And so for me, the 15 looked like moving across the country to take over my dad's lavender farm when I had never been there. I was a BMW saleswoman, never made an all natural product in my life. Like I said, didn't even really know what lavender smelled like, which sounds weird, right? Like, I had just never had in my house like lavender soap or lavender perfume or like anything like that. And so I had to go whenever my dad offered me that position, and he was like sick, and we didn't know what was going to happen with him. And honestly, I had to go buy lavender oil so I could smell it and be like, do I want to do this? Like, do I want to get into this? But I was just like selling cars. And at that time, I was like determined to be the nicest saleswoman ever. But it was funny because me and my husband 3 months later moved across the country, and I became a lavender farmer, and I started making products from scratch, and like becoming an entrepreneur was like the biggest leap of faith and scariest thing and most extreme thing with that 15th gene key I had ever done at that point. But like, that is part of my story. That's part of my brand story, and like the braveness, like the courage that it takes, right? And so another thing, whenever I decided to sell that lavender company, or I decided I was complete with that, like I was done with it, I could have continued to run it for years and years and years, but I just knew I wanted to like use these gene keys, and I wanted to point people in the right direction of their passion and help them make money from what they're good at, because I did that with the lavender farming and I wanted to do that again. And so I ended up selling my company after I invested in 6 months of mentorship. And like, I didn't know that I was going to sell my company right afterwards, but like, I went full pull into mentorship because I was like, this is the big, bold move that I need, that's going to like shake me so out of my comfort zone and make me feel like I'm like walking on eggshells, in a sense of like, it's going to move me so far from where I am into this different realm of reality. And it did. And that's not for everybody. Like, whenever like people come into online business, not every single person is going to go invest in one-to-one mentorship right away. But for me, with that 15, I was like, damn, this is, if everything about it felt right. There was like no ifs, ands, or buts. There wasn't any questions. And it's funny because I've gone back and I've taken like other courses since, but like doing that big leap of faith, doing that crazy thing is part of my story. And it's part of like what makes other people that come into my world feel like brave enough to do the shit that they know inside is like twinkling that they want to do. Right. And so use your crazy stories, use your extremes, lean into those extremes. Like it's not being reckless just to be reckless, just to be like lighting shit on fire, right? No, it's because you like intuitively know that these big, bold moves are going to propel you forward in your life. So trust those things. They're part of your prosperity sequence. Like it's a beautiful thing. Trust yourself with your investments, trust yourself with your bravery, trust yourself with putting yourself out there. It's always going to pay off. Okay. Oh, thank you, Corinne, for letting me read for you. I am like, there's a lot of really good stuff in your chart, but I feel very complete for the day. So, like I said, I've just been going into the nitty gritty of everybody's chart lately. If I have not gotten to yours yet, no, I get on these lives quite often. Just so you know, I have an Instagram full of information about these gene keys and about your first 2 years in business and showing up, being more confident, being more consistent. But also, I have a freebie in the link in my bio. There's ways that we can work together, whether it is a gene key reading, whether it is signing up for my Decode Your Keys Gene Key course that the next round is starting on Wednesday. So make sure you get in there. Or there's private coaching where I do anything from like one-off calls to 1, 3, or 6 months of private coaching. So there's plenty of ways that we can work together. I show up on here consistently because I love making new friends and like just building community through TikTok, through Instagram. I think it's the coolest thing. And so much of my activation and my inspiration for business has come just from having this little square in my hand, this little phone in my hand. And having this, like, I want you to remember, we are in the best time ever to have an online business and create a brand around ourselves, our personalities, and what we love to teach. Like, we have so many things working in our favor. Like, I'm literally sitting here right now wearing Harry Potter socks, like hanging out with my corgi, getting to talk to every single one of you. And like, there's no excuse in this world not to get out there and put yourself out there and get bolder and braver and louder than you ever have before. Because on the other side of that, like I said, is the most expressed version of you, is the you that's making the greatest impact in this world, and is you with a cushy bank account that feels really freaking good. Okay. So take all of this information from your readings or from the other readings that you tuned in today, like sink it into your bones and run with it. Okay. Thank you so much for being here. I love you. And I will talk to you later. Bye-bye. Thank you for joining me today. I'm so glad that we got to talk about this kind of stuff because, it's just like these gene keys did something for me whenever I learned them that nothing in the spirituality world ever did. Like, if I'm being honest, they got me out of kind of the tornado of the spirituality world. They really helped me wake up my greater gifts instead of like constantly trying to fix myself and constantly trying to like heal my past and do all those things. It was like, hey, Stephanie, what happens if you lean into your strengths? What happens whenever you lean into your gifts? Because on the other side of that, you literally uncover talents and abilities that you didn't even know that you had. So I'm so passionate about the gene keys because of that. And because, like I said, they help you with your branding. They help you with like offer creation. They help you learn, like, if you step into this energy, this is how you're going to attract clients the best because you feel most like yourself. And where, again, I'm a stinker in the human design and gene key and astrology world because I don't believe that our gifts just end at our chart. I don't believe that the things that we need to know about ourselves just end at our chart. But I think that it's such a dominant stepping stone that when you learn these things, you're just going to catapult and you're going to just grow and it's going to send you into a whole different reality. So excited for you to learn about your keys. Thank you for being here and hanging out with me. And like I said, if you go to the link in my bio, you can go download the freebie or you can sign up for Decode Your Keys, the Gene Key course. Like I said, last live round that's happening for the foreseeable future, if not ever, because truly it feels complete. Like, there's so many hours of teaching in there that it feels complete. This next round is really to help go in with the people that have already been in the course and the people that were joining this round for the Q&As and the hot seat coaching, that I'm sure plenty of people that will join in the future will have similar questions. So that's why it felt really important to include this round as well. But I love you. And I hope you have the most beautiful day. Bye-bye.